Have you ever tried explaining yourself again and again, only to realize the other person never really cared to understand you? You spoke with honesty. You repeated your words, hoping clarity would change their mind. But all they heard was the echo of their own thoughts. Sometimes, no matter how pure your truth is, people only see what fits their story. And when words fail, silence becomes your only refuge. Far away, in a quiet valley wrapped in soft green hills and silver rivers, there was a small, forgotten village. The people there lived simple lives: farmers, potters, blacksmiths, and among them was a humble lantern maker named Thomas Gray. Thomas wasn't rich, nor loud, nor powerful. He was a craftsman with steady hands and a gentle heart. Every evening, his little workshop glowed like a firefly in the dark, filled with glass, brass, and the faint smell of burning oil. His lamps weren't ordinary. Each one carried a piece of his soul, carefully shaped, polished, and filled with light that seemed warmer than any other. The villagers respected his work, but not all of them respected him. Across the street lived Mr. Clark, the tax collector. He wore fine clothes, always carried a heavy ledger, and had a tongue sharper than his quill. He distrusted everyone, especially those who earned admiration without wealth. "Your lamps are overpriced," he sneered one morning at the market. "You sell dreams in glass bottles." People laughed. Thomas smiled awkwardly and tried to explain about the cost of good glass, the quality of oil, the time it took to build something that would last through years. But Clark waved his hand and walked away, his voice loud enough for others to hear. "Honesty doesn't need excuses," he said. That sentence spread faster than smoke in the wind. Days became weeks. Rumors grew like weeds. People whispered, "Thomas overcharges." Others said, "He hides his profits." Thomas tried again and again to explain himself. He opened his books, showed his earnings, defended his name. But every word he spoke twisted into something new by the time it reached another ear. The truth was no longer his to tell. At night, he sat alone beside his small fire, staring into the flames. His lamps flickered gently around him, beautiful, fragile, misunderstood. And quietly he whispered, "Why can't they see? Why must I keep proving what I already know?" One cold morning, the village awoke to the sound of a bell. A traveler had arrived, an old monk in gray robes, his face calm and eyes bright with quiet wisdom. He spoke little, but people gathered around him, seeking blessings and answers. Thomas waited until the crowd thinned and then approached him. "Sir," he said softly, "I have lived with honesty all my life. I never cheat anyone. Yet no matter how much I explain myself, people twist my words. What should I do to make them understand?" The monk looked at him for a long time, then smiled. "Tell me," he said, "if a man decides the sky is green, what color is the sky to him?" Thomas frowned. "He would still believe it's green, I suppose." The monk nodded. "Then would your explanations change his eyes?" Thomas shook his head slowly. "No, they wouldn't." The monk placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Then stop explaining colors to those who refuse to see. Let your work be your truth. Silence isn't weakness. It's peace wrapped in strength." And with that, the monk continued down the road, his robe fluttering in the cold wind. Thomas stood still, watching him disappear into the mist. Something inside him had shifted. For the first time, he felt quiet. Not defeated, but free. The next morning, Thomas didn't speak much. He went to work as usual, shaping glass, trimming wicks, polishing brass. When Mr. Clark mocked him in the market again, Thomas only smiled and bowed politely. At first, people laughed. "See? He's guilty," Clark shouted. "He has no defense." But Thomas stayed calm. Each evening, he lit one lantern and placed it outside his shop. Its flame burned steady through rain, wind, and fog, never flickering, never fading. Soon, travelers began to notice. "The road feels safer near this light," one said. "It warms the heart," said another. His silence began to speak. Weeks passed. Word spread beyond the village. Merchants from nearby towns came asking for Thomas's lamps. They didn't come because of his words. They came because of the light that carried peace. One evening, Mr. Clark appeared again, this time quieter, unsure. He placed 3 coins on the counter. "I need a lantern," he said. Thomas smiled and handed him one. "It will serve you well." No anger, no pride, just calm truth. Days later, the villagers saw Clark standing outside his house, staring at that lantern. Its warm light reflected in his eyes, and for the first time he looked human. He never said a word, but something in his silence confessed what pride never could. Thomas kept working, day after day, night after night. He no longer explained. He no longer defended. His peace spoke for him. His silence became his shield. His light became his voice. One night, as he placed another lantern outside, a little boy asked, "Mr. Thomas, why do your lights shine brighter than everyone else's?" Thomas smiled and replied, "Because I no longer waste my fire trying to light the darkness inside others. I keep it here, where it belongs." The boy nodded. The lantern flickered softly, painting gold across the quiet street. Sometimes silence isn't emptiness. It's full of answers words can't carry. When you stop defending your truth, the noise around you fades. And in that quiet, something stronger grows. Peace. You don't need to prove your honesty to those who enjoy misunderstanding you. You don't have to shout your truth to those who've already chosen their illusion. Because peace isn't found in being understood, it is found in understanding that you no longer need to explain. The day you stop chasing validation, you begin to feel something beautiful. Freedom. You start living for your own light, not for someone else's shadow. And that's when life truly begins to glow. This is TruthBit TV, where silence speaks wisdom and stories remind you that peace will always outshine noise.